Hello, friends. Today's podcast is going to be a little bit more short, a bit more compact, a bit more to the point. You're going to be pleased to know. Today was the first day of 2023 where we started scarifying the lawns. And that's Open in the background with his squeaky ball. Thank you, Open. So, yes, today we started scarifying the lawns. And for reference, it's the 22nd of February. And I wanted to explain just very briefly why this year, out of a lot of years, is actually an important year for doing this type of work on your lawn, scarification. Now, last summer, and into autumn, and maybe even late spring, we had some fairly challenging conditions for lawns. We had a very early dry spell that seemed to go on for quite a long time, which was nice, kind of. We had a very a decent bit of warmth, but not too hot. And we also had this other thing in the UK. We had a hosepipe ban. Now, all of those things lead to one thing. One, it leads to really compacted soils. Excuse me. It leads to a build-up of thatch because lots of grass dies. It leads to, or they say, those two compound to create a perfect bed for moss because the compacted root zone, the surface of the soil, let's say, doesn't allow moisture through, so therefore moisture sits there, and moss loves growing in wet conditions. And the other thing that was quite common, and it is quite common, is there is a little bit of a frustration when lawns aren't easy to look after. And that frustration leads to, I'm going to go and cut the lawn anyway. And that cut gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, which ultimately leads to exacerbating the problem. Shorter cut grass, thatchier grass, firmer root zone. There's technically called a pan that sort of develops on the first, say, 5 to 6 mil of the soil, a clay or a soil pan, meaning that the water can't penetrate, meaning that the moss builds up and the thatch is there, moss and thatch. And this year, here's the thing. This year, if you don't scarify your lawn, if you don't take back control, the lawn will only progressively get worse. That's given. Because there's a funny thing, or actually, it's not funny at all, but actually the thing that's always fascinated me about lawns, lawn care, and caring for lawns, is they only ever get better or worse. They can't stay the same. They just can't stay the same. To some extent, you look at them going, yes, this looks just like last year, but the lawns that look as good as last year are the lawns that are technically in superb condition. The soils are well aerated. The thatch and the moss, if there's ever moss, are dealt with properly every year. It's a routine. Aeration, scarification. Every year, it's a routine. And then how you overseed and how you feed can help to make it better. But if you don't do the technical work on years like 2023 this year, the lawn will only get worse. So, spring, it's now the time to do it. Just before the growth really, really kicks in and the feeds really, really kick in. Get moss killer down, scarification done, moss killer down, and a feed. Not necessarily in that order. It can vary depending on each lawn, but moss killer, feed, scarify, or scarify, moss killer, feed. Depends on the type of lawn, depends on the conditions, depends on how much damage you want to create of the existing grass, and so on and so on. But, my friends, as I'll say that again, I'll say it again. A lawn can only get better or worse. It can never stay the same unless you invest an awful lot of time, effort, and let's say budget in maintaining its condition. If you leave it, it will go in the direction it wants to, and we have to control that. Anyway, that's enough from me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And if you've listened to the end and you think it's a worthwhile podcast to listen to from time to time, and if you found me on YouTube or anywhere, actually, just hit subscribe, and it might just help develop the audience for this mad ramblings of mine. Anyway, enjoy scarification, guys and girls. Take care. Ta-da. Bye.